Who'd have thunk it? Tony Blair is involved in the attempt to ethnically cleanse the Gaza Strip, shunt 2 million Palestinians into a tiny and totally destroyed area, leaving the rest for the Elysian fields of Trump Towers, condominiums, and a new Gaza Riviera. Like we need a new Riviera. At least we need it more than the Palestinian refugees eking out a dismal existence there these 70 years past and more. Tony Blair, the Labour Prime Minister. The Labour Prime Minister that launched the wars with George W. Bush in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Labour Prime Minister with the blood of millions on his hands already. The Labour Prime Minister who made well over £100 million in gold for the services rendered whilst he was the British Prime Minister, one of the richest men in Britain, richer than Croesus, and all his money-grubbing celebrity family too. You'd think that would be enough. You'd think that level of death and destruction and the filthy lucre that came with it would be enough. But no, Mr. Blair's hand is revealed in the Abraham Accord, Donald Trump and family business. He is one of those advising on how they can turn it into a hub. It's a great word, hub, isn't it? It conjures up all kinds of white-hot heat of technology. The fact that it's on the bones of hundreds of thousands of people, the fact that it's on the graves of the Palestinian nation, the fact that it's on the toxic ruins of what has become of Gaza appears not to matter to them. Get the fake grass rolled out, get the sprinklers going, the fountains gushing, and the swimming pools glittering azure. On the Mediterranean, hey, presto, you've got a Gaza Riviera. There are no words, at least no words of contempt, strong enough to describe how I feel about Tony Blair, except this: I feel almost as much detestation and contempt for the guy who's followed him. He's not as well known. Many of you will not know quite how bad he is. If I tell you that Sir Keir Starmer is the least popular British Prime Minister there has ever been, and in those stakes both Mr. Blair and Margaret Thatcher and Liz Truss all feature, but Keir Starmer is by far and away the least popular, or I should say the most unpopular Prime Minister that Britain has ever had. And hey, it's only his first anniversary. That's right, in just 12 months, Keir Starmer has become the most hated man in the land ever. And there are ample reasons for it, many of them domestic, many of them foreign policy linked. This is the man that kicked our disabled people out of their wheelchairs, or at least he tried to. He was forced to backtrack on some, but not all, of his plans to make disabled people's lives even more miserable, and is threatening to take it out on the poorest children in the land with deleterious changes to the child benefit structures. This is the man who helped, with his party, hasten the day of voluntary euthanasia, they like to call it. In other words, shuffling our old people, our terribly disabled people, our people who've been made to feel like they are a burden, no longer likely to turn a profit, into suicide pods for the profit of the death company that will administer them. He is the man whose party legislated just the other week to legalize late-term abortions. Do you know what I mean by late-term abortions? I mean abortions up to and including the day that the child was due to be born. How's that for late-term abortions? I've just been with not one, but two newborn babies. That's why I'm not in a studio this evening. I've just been with two newborn babies. And under Labour, Britain would have allowed their murder on the day that they were due to be born. This is a man, Keir Starmer, who froze our old age pensioners through a very cold winter just 6 months ago. That's apart from the 3,000 old age pensioners who literally froze to death. Not my figures, the government's own figures. My figures would be double or even treble that. But the government's own figures say that 3,000 old age pensioners in Britain died of hypothermia as a result of his removal of the cold weather payments to which they had previously been allowed. Now, why did he do such wicked things? Well, I'm afraid the obvious answer is that he did them to give the money away. To give the money away to the footpad, the pickpocket, little Zelensky. He literally gave the same sum of money that he took from Britain's poorest and oldest and gave it directly to Zelensky, and moreover promised that Britain would go on doing so for 100 years. This is the man who said that without qualification, it's a very heavy and important phrase. Most of us would not say anything without qualification. I mean, I really love my wife, but not without qualification. There is nothing that I love without qualification except the Almighty himself. But Keir Starmer is a Zionist without qualification. His words. So that means that he, without qualification, supports anything that the Zionist settler state called Israel decides to do. And when it decided to cut off food, water, electricity, and medicine from millions of people, half of them women, half of them young, I saw his lips move, no point in denying it now. I saw his lips move on a local radio station called LBC. He said that Israel had the right to do so. This is a man who's guilty of participation in relentless bombardment of the poorest people in the world, namely the people of Yemen. But the people of Yemen are fighting back. And looking at the anxious communiques from the British government, from the Red Sea right now, an Israel-bound British ship would appear to have been holed, listing and taking in water. May God preserve the sailors on board, if not the cargo. This is a Yemeni people that just this afternoon managed to land not one but two, not ballistic, but hypersonic missiles on the international airport, the only international airport in the aforementioned settler state of Israel, closing Ben Gurion Airport to the double passport holders, which is most of the citizens of Israel who were headed for the coast, and not the Gaza Riviera coast either. This is a man who is up to his neck in the blood of Russian people and Ukrainian people. The Russian people because his supplied missiles, guided by his supplied intelligence, guided by his supplied special forces and his encouraged British mercenaries, have not just prolonged but deepened the bloodshed in the war in Ukraine. This man, Keir Starmer, is responsible more than any other European leader, for supporting, exhorting, and copper plating the regime in Kiev, which continues to fight a war which it has already lost, at the cost of huge dislocation, death, and destruction. 9 million Ukrainians have left the country. More than 1 million Ukrainians are dead, having been press-ganged into Zelensky's army with the cries of Keir Starmer's fight on, to the last drop of Ukrainian blood ringing in his ears. I could go on about Keir Starmer all night. But I'm going to desist because I want to talk about the dramatic development that occurred this week. It doesn't matter that it went off half-cocked. It doesn't matter that it was swiftly walked back in the most delicate terms. The birth of a new political party in Britain, led by the former Labour leader who obtained the highest increase in the Labour share of the vote since the Second World War. A man who built a party of 600,000 people and who was cruelly brought down by the Israel lobby in the United States and in Britain, and of course with ample assistance from the American and Israeli embassies in London. Jeremy Corbyn has been a friend of mine for more than 40 years. He's a brave and tenacious man. The fact that at 76 he's getting ready to launch a new political organization is commendable and a credit to him and his family. We have some political disagreements, but they are on issues that we ought to be able to put to one side. If his new party, if I prefer the word alliance so that everyone can join it, if his new alliance restricts itself to the 3, 5, 7, 10 max points of agreement, he can unite, as Mélenchon tried to do in France, all of the forces of the left, all of the socialist and radical forces, and he could really make an impact. He can definitely bring Keir Starmer's government to a shuddering defeat, and maybe long before the scheduled general election of 2029. I wish Mr. Corbyn well. I hope that we in the Workers' Party will be able to join him. And if there's anything that we can do to help make that happen, we are ready to do so. If it turns out that we are not able to join forces, then at least we must make an electoral agreement so that we don't end up fighting against each other on the same ballot paper in the same constituencies. I think the Corbyn development will be very significant, but I am certain that the Elon Musk development in the United States is going to change everything. I see the bleats. I heard from some fossil, a man that hated the House of Lords but is now in the House of Lords. A man that hated the European Union and then milked the European Union for millions. I refer, of course, to the fossil formerly known as Neil Kinnock. His line, which I thought was a trifle homophobic, was that Corbyn's new vehicle would be a Farage assistance group. I don't have to spell out the acronym to you, I'm sure. And I hear it from the United States that Musk will let the other people in. Well, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But maybe it's a good thing to break up the sclerotic political systems that exist in both the United Kingdom and in the United States. Isn't that a good thing? Or have they done so well with that system that we should leave it alone? Is it the case that the Uni Party in Britain, the Uni Party in America, has such a glittering record of success that we should leave it alone? Or is it an almost unmitigated disaster? I say the latter. What say you? So anything that takes a hammer and smashes that mold has got to be a good thing. Now, I don't support Elon Musk's America Party. I don't even support Elon Musk for all his achievements. Apart from anything else, I'm suing him in the High Court in Dublin. But I do support his initiative, because his initiative can only break the vice-like grip, and I use the word vice advisedly, the vice-like grip on the American people held by the warmongering, globalized capitalist mongers that have ruled in blue ties and in red ties for so very, very long in the United States, and have beggared whole communities of millions of people, have dealt out death and destruction all over the world. Look, don't tell the wife, but when I was born, the Korean War had only just finished, and the bodies were still unburied from Korea, through Vietnam, through Indonesia, through all of the wars in Africa and Asia, all of the fascist coups d'etats in Latin America. I've lived through them all, and they were all conducted by American presidents of one supposed political hue or another. So I'm for breaking that. Now, I don't suppose I'll support anything in Elon Musk's political platform except one thing, and it's on that I will need to finish, given the hour. Elon Musk's platform includes a demand for freedom of speech. A freedom of speech which has markedly improved on his own platform X, though still has quite a bit of improvement to go. He supports the First Amendment. It's called the First Amendment for a reason. Without freedom of speech, you don't have any other freedoms at all. Without free speech, you don't have any democracy at all. For if people are not free to say what they think, not only are you abusing their rights by closing them down, you are depriving yourself of what might, just might, be the benefit of their advice, which, as John Stuart Mill said, is a crime, therefore, against everyone. Now, I cannot say what I would like to say now, because I would risk 14 years in prison. And I'm 70, with a 5-year-old child, with an 8-year-old child, with a 10-year-old child, with a 13-year-old child, with an 18-year-old child. I can't go to prison for 14 years. But that's what would happen if I said to you what I'm burning to say inside. British people, at least, know exactly what I mean. This is the mother of all talk shows. Stay tuned.